Hello, everybody. This is James. Welcome to SOULCare on Tuesday, June something, June 15th, 16th. You tell me. I don't know. I'm locked down. I've been out of the house in a long time, and this is what you get. I'm hoping you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me. The sound is all right with you guys. Hi. Let me know the sound's okay. I'm not wearing my hat today, so my hair is growing back. Hi. Wow, we're up to 129. I just started. Amazing. Hi, Connie, Brenda, Lisa. How are you? Hi, Joanne. Yes, and doing very well. Doesn't look like it. Thanks. Sounds good. Good. I just finished my Pilates class. Phew. And I'm doing yoga twice a week. I'm starting that next week. And I'm gonna personal person to come to my house, and I have a deck, so I'm gonna have a person do it on the deck. And then I'm starting an outdoor gym in my backyard. I just got a mat, and I'm gonna start. I have a workout bench, so I'll be working out twice a week, yoga twice a week, Pilates twice a week, and in between that, swimming. I think that's enough. I had to stop drinking wine. So bad. So sad. Hi, Kelly White. Hi, honey. Kelly White sent me stuff I got to show you guys. Hold on. Kelly White is such a doll. Kelly, you're wonderful. You never saw it, Kelly. Kelly sent me this, an amethyst. Look at this with the points. There's never an amethyst. I've never seen this ever. And I've been a lot around crystals in Brazil, South America. And it's a pointed amethyst. So if any comes near me, third eye. Is that cool? Thanks, Kelly. Kelly's my medium friend who's booked through July, and she did the astrological with me the other night. And we're gonna do another. We're putting together now, and Kelly's working on a starseed evening of starseed people, what that means and who they are. So watch out for that one. Oh, that's okay, Kim Shea, for your cat. Send your cat green. Green is a healing color. So wrap your cat like a blanket and visualize you're holding the cat with a blanket of green and see that green energy healing, bringing balance to any area of the body of that cat that needs it. And you can go in there and say hello to your kitty and say, I'm going to help you with healing now. Animals are pretty natural healers anyway, but that could help, certainly. Green, wrap them in a green blanket. Danita can't wait for you to sing for us. Well, that'll take another day. So I was going through what to talk about today, and I came up with this book, which I was going to do a little meditation, but I just found this was one of the most incredible classical books I've ever read when I first started doing mediumship. And this book is out of print now, but I think you might find it on Amazon, you might not, but if you can, you should get it. It's really one of the best books ever. Scientifically speaking, well, for me, I'm an easy person, but it really talks about After We Die, What Then by George Meek. It's a real classic. Answers to questions about life after death. There have been many, many books on this subject, but this was one of the most thorough when it first was published. And it was published in, let's see, 1980. Well, volume 1 was done through a seance in England in 1972. It was printed again 1973. Volume 2 is Healers and the Healing Process. Volume 4, As We See It From Here, 1980. Volume 5, Collapse and Come Back. It was from the Metascience Corporation publications. But if you look on Amazon, you might be able to find some. So it's copyright 1980 by Metascience Corporation. And it's a lot of information. Sorry. But it's pretty amazing. Just to give you an idea of what George Meek is, the scientist who really explored life after death. And these are the categories, the chapters he talks about. Number 1 section, I am both the caterpillar and the butterfly. The mind and the jelly mold, all packed and ready to fly. What evidence for survival? Chapter, historical religious writings, deathbed communications, communications through individual mediumistic persons, apparitions, spirit doctors, spirit photography, materialization, space-time relationships, a blueprint of immortality, a tour of many mansions, which I'm going to show you in a second. Anyway, and it talks about interpenetrating levels of life and consciousness. So the different illustrations they have here are the human embryo suspended in a sea of water. The brain is not the mind, which we talk about. Magnetic lines of force passing through blood, flesh, and bone. Multiple images of body. Man's multiple levels of being. And there's so many. I'm just going to read you a little bit here. What is this book about? Each of us is traveling a road which has a funeral at its end. If we are honest with ourselves, we must wonder, is death really the end? After doing my best to struggle through this life, I am blotted out forever, as materialists say. Do I lose my personal identity and have become some formless non-entity absorbed in a great unconscious? Can I believe the biblical and accumulated religions lore about life after death? Will I and my body lie in a cold, dark grave until some far-off, uncertain judgment day? Is there truth about purgatory, about a hell with fire and brimstone? Is all this talk about a loving and compassionate God just utter nonsense? Why hasn't my minister, priest, or rabbi answered these questions for me? The book is concerned with providing answers to these age-old questions about life and death experiences and life after death. It is written in simple language. It makes use of the question and answer format and of easily understood diagrams and photographs to convey its message. True. So last week I showed you some materialization photos, one with Abraham Lincoln. This is one from a medium. Mediums were sometimes put to jail because there was fakery. But this is a medium that's been tested scientifically. And if you can see, I mentioned to you that ectoplasm comes from the orifices of a medium. So the ears, the nose, the mouth, and sometimes the solar plexus. And this is a medium from, they don't say who she, but she was, her guide is a nun, okay? Her guide is a nun. This is a medium when she was in jailed. See here, she's jailed, right? That's her. And then the medium produced under scientific format there, ectoplasm. And here's the ectoplasm coming out of her ear. And that's real. Now, if you look closely, I don't know if you can really see it, but that's her guide, the nun, who's coming out of her ear. You can see the face, the head just starting to form. And the full materialization is right here. That's the nun. Is that wild? So that's a legitimate physical medium. Oh, and here's a better picture of her. It goes to here. From here, it forms and goes into, and there's a Bible, and it goes into here. And they were able to locate the nun, and she's holding the cross, pointing out. Now, the only time I've ever seen this actual physical manifestation was in Brazil, when I went to a physical mediumship center there, the Frei Luiz Center, and they would do once a month. They would hold these physical seances for a very invited guests, very limited. It was just mediums, and they invited me because of my mediumship work. I'd never been to anything like this. And it was just incredible. I just got to say, it was incredible. I saw the mists begin to start up, and all of a sudden these, I'm going to put the comments aside, the mist would start up, and I'd watch this from 5:30 to 7:30 in the morning. And you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself for 48 hours. You're not allowed to eat and red meat. You can't drink alcohol, and no sex 48 hours beforehand. And you sit in cotton clothes, white clothes, and you sit for 2 hours in meditation as the music is playing, and you're aware of this, like a stage they had in this house. And I was looking, and the vapors begin around, you see these vapors start, and then they have 2-3 mediums up there, and you see these vapors start in between them and build into this being who was a surgeon. He was a surgeon. And the surgeon, I think called Dr. Franz, he was known there, and he was there to heal. This place, Frei Luiz Center, was really, I would guess you'd call it an orphanage, I'd say. And every once a month, they'd bring the sickest children to this seance, this materialization seance, where the doctor would work on the sickest children. So literally, they'd bring these kids in cots, like 3 or 4 at a time, put them on the stage, and you'd see this Dr. Francis Spirit work on each one. And he was holding this kind of like exactly what Kelly gave me here. Something like this, Kelly. But it was rainbow, and it was glowing. It was like a rainbow colors. It was glistening. It kept on changing colors. And it'd go to a certain area of their body, and that was it. So it was like, and I was sitting in the audience like, wow, this is quite amazing, incredible. So what happened was I was thinking, God, I'd love to go on stage. Wouldn't I love to, I'd love to experience this, because, you know, the experience of it would be incredible. It's one thing sitting in the audience, but going on stage with this physical manifestation of spirit. And I'm very cynical. I have to be. It's good to be a skeptical person. Open-minded skepticism is very good. And that's, I'd say, what I am. So I wanted to prove it, you know, and make sure this was real. And that's just my background, cynical New Yorker. So I went to, so what happened was I'm sitting there, it's close to 7:30, but the last group of people, they had a man with a red flashlight. It's done in the dark. You could see enough, but because the ectoplasm is so sensitive to regular light. So that's why, again, anytime there's a dark sandstorm, I'm always just leery. So I was thinking, God, I'd love to get up there. And all of a sudden, and we're in a room about 200 mediums. The guy with the red flashlight shines it to me, and the audience says, come up, come up. And I'm like, oh, I was freaked out. And I went up on stage, and I'm lying down on a cot, and I'm just like almost shaking. And I didn't close my eyes. I want to be very aware. And I'm aware then of the spirit, Dr. Franz, coming next to me, and this rainbow thing. And of course, I'm the only one that starts feeling up the guy, because I'm like, sure, this is real. And I'm touching him, and he's solid. He's very, very solid. And he took the light, the beam of light, this instrument, and he went right to my solar plexus, to my stomach. And it was like surgery, I guess you'd say. So after that, I went back to my seat, and it's like post-surgery, you sit in the casa, and you have, they make fresh breads and soups for you. And it felt like I had surgery. Again, to make a long story short, 2 weeks later, I was back in Los Angeles, and I'd gone to my doctor, my internist, because I had an ulcer. I didn't tell anybody I had an ulcer. I had an ulcer before this trip to Brazil. Didn't tell anybody. The doctor does an x-ray, and he says, what happened to your ulcer? I said, I can't begin. He goes, it's not there anymore. I said, probably not. So that was my experience with materialization. That one part of it, the most exciting experience. Anyway, going back to George Meek's book, After You Die With Then, at the back of the book, he gives you a geographic design of the other side, of the realms and levels of the other side. And he's basing it upon the saying that in the Bible, it says, in my Father's house there are many mansions. And those mean this very spiritual levels that exist. So here he has a map of all the different levels that exist, okay? Now remember, there's worlds within worlds of the world. These are main ones, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These go with, obviously, the chakras, they associate with the chakra points, right? So most of us, when we pass over, all of us, we're down here, planet Earth, and we'll go here. So the first one is the Earth, physical. Okay, that's physical, that's why. The physical Earth is here. I'll read a little bit for you. Interesting. So the Earth level, all of us are right now in the physical plane, which is the Earth. You live in your physical bodies. The etheric and astral bodies are consciousness now, are considered now energy fields. They interpenetrate the physical body just for, I gotta read his writing here. Physical body, just for soul, personality, and emotions, memory, and the physical, and the etheric bodies die, here called the first death. Right. So you go through 2 deaths, and I talk about this. When you first pass out of the body, you leave the physical body behind. Then you go to the lowest astral world. The lower astral is number 2. Now, some people are aware of it, and some people go right into another level. So the lower astral, the dark, dismal, dangerous, and often frightening world. So that's the lower astral. So that's where people like who do bad things go. This is where they sit and they first become aware of things they should not have done. It's that life after death. And they're kind of stuck there. Oh, here it says murderers. Okay, I'll read it to you. The dark, dismal, dangerous, and often frightening world, which the Bible describes as outer darkness, weeping, wailing, unloving, resentful. Often they have fierce alcoholics, murderers, See some also those who took others' lives as a regular. But remember that there's always help. There's help. So in that level, I think that the soul will bring itself to that level that it's attracted to because of how it's lived in its life. So, for instance, Jeffrey Epstein, I was watching that show, he would go in a lower level. And I was watching the show, I felt him at a lower level. And he's got to forgive himself. And that level is really about forgiving yourself. And some souls have a hard time forgiving themselves, so they're kind of stuck there for a while. Okay, the next level is the intermediate astral world, which is orange. And let me read that to you a little bit. Orange. Here the person awakes minutes, days, or weeks after departing the physical body. So the intermediate is really where you end up, where you open your eyes. Complete with hospitals and their staffs and institutions, learning and teachers. Help is given to persons who are diseased in the mind. Many suicide might end up there too. With mental health, there you go, with mental, emotional, or religious hang-ups too. The body is still material, but of finer substance at a higher vibrations rate. Usually the prime of Earth life. So 20s, 30s. Communication is by both thought and spiritual growth. Now, this is interesting because on that level, when you meet somebody over in the spirit world, you'll see them. They won't speak to you verbally, but you'll speak with thought, telepathically, and they'll be dressed kind of to the level of spirituality that they're at, and you'll be able to see who they are completely in their auric field. You'll know their character by what they look like. Okay? Then we go to the higher spiritual levels. The yellow. That's right. This wonderful realm of existence is generally what the Christian calls heaven. An apt term might be called the Summerland. No pain, no suffering. They're happy. So many people first start the intermediate. So they'll wake up in like a hospital or wake up to get themselves used to being out of the body. They'll go right there. And then we call it the second death. The second death, you go to the other level, which it's nothing. It's just going to another level, a higher level, if you will, the Summerland of the heaven worlds. Okay. There are happy meetings here in the spiritual heaven world with those for whom a bond of love is felt, or groups formed of like-minded persons. There are unlimited opportunities and encouragement for each soul to grow in mental and spiritual consciousness. Interest in activities on planet Earth decreases. Encounters with angels, lovely and helpful beings of light, and show you incredible panoramas. But eventually the soul must decide whether to return to the earth plane for more experiences or to accept the second death containment vehicle and be reborn onto the causal or mental levels, which are above that one. So most of us spend time in the higher astrals. And if your work calls for it, your soul's work calls for it to go to a higher level where you can learn, you can learn to be guides and teachers of other people. But anyway, there's a lot more to talk about with this because there's so many states of consciousness. Remember, there's the worlds within worlds and worlds. So, George Meek is the book After We Die. So, really good stuff. Okay. Now I'll go to your comments. Sorry, I'm just so excited about that. Thanks, Kel. Will the criminals inflicting this pandemic be brought to justice? I don't know. Donna, I don't know, sweetheart. I mean, there's been so much stuff done for humans for so long. I don't know. It might be covered up. Who knows? A lot of things are covered up. Your video was showing a mirror image. Wow, that's kind of cool. The reference sheet is in the back of the book. The reference sheet is in the back of this book. Now, I will say it's a bit dated. It was 1980, so things have changed a little bit, but it's a great reference book to have. It's a great, any library, metaphysical, spiritual library. And if you've been very religious brought up, that'll help you to ease into the spiritual sense. Brandy, so many were black, so many were white. Yeah, white clothing. Yep, I don't know why white clothing. I think it's because of the frequency of the energy. White is much lighter and black is denser. So it helps with the materialization. Have I personally seen these levels? In the human state, I guess various ways. I had a healing by Kelly's friend Pranja. Kelly gave me got me healing with a Pranja Avalon, which I got to put on my website, Pranja Avalon. And she brought me, her beings brought me to levels which I'd never been before, but I knew it was in a place where I couldn't describe colors. I couldn't describe, it was nothing human. Strong emotional levels. So I guess that's the closest thing. And I'd say when I've done trance work, I've gone to a higher level that I'm aware of. It's so not human. And when I do my work as a medium, those levels of love, you're definitely on those levels. Your soul is on those levels. So the human is the big toe to the soul. Our soul body is way beyond the physical. This is just a small part of us. I often say 20% of the soul is inside the body, 80% is out. So those higher levels, you experience it a lot, all the time. Thank you. I thought very interesting, fascinating. Rebecca, what happens when someone says they're dead but they're not dead physically yet? That could be symbolic. It could be a sense they're going to pass over. It could be limited. It could be an insight for you that's giving you that they will eventually pass over. Or it might be symbolic that they're dead with certain things. They haven't looked at the truth or something. It's hard to say. It's all different. Everyone's different. What would their personality be? Would they use certain things like that? What do you think happens to addicts who die alone and hopeless? Oh, I think that they get help right away. I think, remember, a soul can never be harmed. So don't put the human stuff on a soul that's just experiences. So it's almost like, I always think about this when I'm cutting open or peeling, I should say, my onions. And I peel onions a lot now. And it's always like those outer layers. The mind might be tinted a little bit, dirty a little bit from experience on the earth, drugs and a mindset, hopelessness. But the soul is awakened. So the soul will feel no pain anymore. The soul will go back to a great time, because that'll be just a memory, the addiction. It's a mindset. It's a mindset in the physical too. It's a physical addiction here, so it's different. But then you go to the mental, it's a mental addiction as well. So once they realize that they're outside of that, and of course you get help from that, like they have the hospitals, institutions that help people with those mind diseases, right? Even like religious people have gone over and they come back and they're still the same. Have you been saved yet? And like they're still in that space of saved. So they'll go to other levels where there are other Christians who believe that, or Muslims believe a certain religious. They all have there are different levels. You go to that level you belong, you gravitate toward based upon your thoughts, what your mindset is. So, like I talk about Jeffrey Epstein, he will go to levels of other people who've done predators, who've done those things, and he'll be around those people. And that can be hell when you think about it. So you feel sorry. I feel sorry for people like that, because they have to be awakened. I remember once in my readings years ago, a lady described to her granddaughter. I was reading for the granddaughter, and the granddaughter, grandmother came through, and the grandmother answered. The granddaughter said, "What was it like when you first passed over there?" And the grandmother showed me this visually, clairvoyantly, and spoke about it. I could see it as she spoke about it, and she said, "Well, one of the first things I had to do when I came here was that my guides made these." She said, "These people, she knew who they were. These people, they brought me to a special place." And she said it was a nice place, but it reminded me of a hospital, but a nice hospital. She said like a hotel, I guess you'd say. And I didn't take it all in, but there was no ceiling and lights coming in. And she said I had to go to a room there and look into someone who was in a bed who was sleeping. And my guide brought me to this person and had me look at this person. That person was asleep. And she said, I recognized that was one of the Nazi guards that killed me. He was the one that killed me. And my guide said, you have to forgive him in order for him to wake up. Can you do that? So that was really interesting. And she did. And, those concepts, those mind things, those human, it's unfortunately the human stuff. That's why we have to try to do good here and change that mindset to the positive. And, really, the best way to grow here is spiritually. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, what kind of clothes you wear. It doesn't matter. Those are nice things. You can appreciate them, but life is nice. Life is what you want to appreciate. And life in each other. It's not what you think, it's who you are, right? I'm doing great, Lissandro Yemez. Maureen Fitzpatrick, can you meditate with your eyes open? I do all the time when I'm watering my garden or I'm looking out, I'm meditating right now. Looking at the trees outside, the sky, that's a form of meditation. Hi, Debbie in Anchorage. My beard's looking fierce. I know, isn't it it's kind of cool. I know, it's kind of wild. I'm waiting for my trimmer to come so I can trim it. Name a book, please. Oh, my phone's ringing. After We Die, What Then? All right, by George Meek. The earth is going through transformation. Yes, it is, very much so. The spirits come in dreams all the time, yes. Kathleen Fleming, what does 3355111? I don't know numbers. Doreen Virtue wrote a book about it. It's called Angel Numbers. A very good book. So that's a good book to get. Okay. Yeah, one thing they talked about when they got on, my mother talked about this, and several spirits. When I first came over to the other side, they brought me to visit other realms, other places. She said, I went to the lower astral world. I went to other places. Oh, you don't want to be caught there. She said, don't want to be caught there. And it was almost like darker and darker. And she said, no, we want to be in the higher part. But she said, it's according to your character is where you'll end up. So that's interesting. Carolyn Sutherland, if they scare you, why are you scared? Is that fear? So you can't let fear rule your life. So Carolyn, I really would suggest taking my Mediumship 1 course in my school, the JP School of Mystical Arts. Or if you want to do the basic beginning, Psychic Portals, really good basic course. You need to empower yourself and not be in fear of self, because your soul can never be harmed. So it's just your head, that mindset of what you've been hearing from people saying, oh, you should be afraid. It's the unknown. And the more you know about it, the more you'll get away from fear. So check out my school. That's the best advice I can give you. Oh, great. Happy birthday, Patricia. Yes, number 1, spirits come in dreams. That's true, Joanne. Beth? This is from Susan Bucci. Were you ever nervous or afraid feeling what you have experienced? No. Never, no. I was just, I'm more afraid and nervous of the living people. True. They're more dangerous. I've seen evil, and it's dangerous. And it's how people treat you. It's bad. But, you got to step back and not be in part of it. That's their stuff, not your stuff. Oh, you just posted Amazon link. Thanks, Brandy. That's a great one, Lisa, the stairway. That's another way of looking at it. Jill, yes, Jill Goldfarb, yes. You can ask them a question and quiet your mind and listen to the first thing they say. I have read The Afterlife. Daniel, must we be extremely good people to be our angels on our side? Well, I would see where your mind is, yes. I mean, you put your mind in a happy, good, loving place, that's raising your vibration. So, and angels and guides are on a higher vibration. So if you bring yourself up to a higher vibration through love, that makes sense. No reason to worry. That's right, Elena. No reason to worry at all. That's very human. What is the title of the book again? Okay. After we die, what then? Does your personal aura reflect your personality? Yes, it does, Vicky. So every thought you have, every emotion, every desire, it's all out here. Death can be interpreted as a new beginning. Very true, Deb. That's exactly right. It is a new beginning. You take off this heavy overcoat and you go home. They can touch you. Oh, I hear people leaving. Okay, your car is starting. That's okay. I'm a little late with the call. Okay. Yes, who's that saying that? That's Marianne O'Neill. Very good, Marianne. I feel forgiving yourself is the first step. Bingo. Number one. You have to love yourself first. Forgive yourself and love yourself. Realize that you're going through school. This is a time of school. It's going through lessons. Not all lessons are easy. Lessons are hard. Give yourselves a break. You actually came down to this school of hard knocks, this earth. Everybody should treat themselves and pat themselves on the back for doing this. My friend Violet, who's in the back of Unfinished Business, our picture is there. I wrote a whole thing about her. And we used to sit together every day and have tea in the afternoon when I lived in Laguna Beach. And she said to me when she first came through to me, she said, "Oh, James," she had a distinctive voice. "Oh, James, I wish people would really take care of themselves. Give themselves a pat in the back. It takes a lot to be in the human world. I don't know how I ever did it, but tell everybody to pat themselves in the back for taking the struggles, taking those struggles on, because it's not an easy place." So it's very true. Like attracts like. That's right, Alina. Colleen, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't know about seizures. I really don't. You can go check, I don't know. Kelly White might know somebody. You can have a session with Kelly. She might be able to tell you that. I don't know. Amy, how would your gift be heightened? By taking the time to still yourself, still your mind, and start listening with inside you, with your soul. Meditation is a good step. Thank you, Dee Dee. Hello, Sharon from England. How are you, darling? You'll reunite with your animals. Yes, everyone goes back together. Husbands and wives and mothers and fathers and siblings and animals. I was thinking, I think there's some of my plants over there, but this is nothing compared to what they have over there. Oh, and look at that. Now let's talk about the Rainbow Garden twice. Yes, it's a wonderful poem called The Rainbow Bridge about animals, which you should look up. It's great. All right, kids, I think that's it for the day. Hi, Angel. Good to see you. So I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same bat station, same bat time. And God bless you all. And remember, love is the key. So when you start feeling judgment, stop and go to love. It's the bigger picture. All right. Cheers for now.